Okay, we're recording. Anybody else want to share anything real quick? We good?
Nope. Good morning. I'll just say hello. We're ready to go. Let's do this. Woo-hoo.
Okay, good morning to everybody. And just a reminder, you rock.
I love that. Everybody's rocking. Okay, this comes back from a training that I did a long time ago, and I probably still need to update some of the slides, but I want to lead in. I'm going to have Alex, and if you guys could watch for Alex, she said she's getting on. She's going to be sharing her screen here shortly. After I get through with this, I'll transition to that. But you guys just speak up at any point, as I'm going through this. Don Fela, that's the book that got Jimmy Smith. It's also the principle taught in Don Fela that got Kathy Coover. She said, when I saw that you could get 2 or 5 who get 5, she just told this story the other day. And she said that she looked at Jim and she said, do you think I could do that? And Jim said, you can do better. I know you can do better. So they learned out of this book, and I devoured this book so much so that I made a PowerPoint out of it. And it was one of the things that I was taught immediately getting in. Jimmy Smith was always about these numbers that Don Fela teaches. But there's also some other principles that get missed that aren't always brought up about the leadership that is developed through this book as well, and taking responsibility. Once you click over to become an associate in Isagenix, you just signed up to become a leader, and it's your responsibility to help other people succeed that you're sharing this with. And I think a lot of times, because there's not a lot of backgrounds that come in to this industry where they've been in a leadership position before, where they haven't had a career or schooling or have developed any skills around leadership. And yet when you hit that associate button, you now have a responsibility to lead somebody. And I think there's this kind of twisted, warped sense of, I'm just going to enroll people and they'll make me rich, right? They'll make me wealthy. I think that there's that sense of something out there that people kind of like think that this is kind of like winning the lottery. And what we've taught Lenny and Jojo and so many of the leaders that are on here is that this is a real business, and you've got to treat it like a business. And when you treat it like a business, it'll treat you like a business owner. But there's so many principles that are built into this type of business that have so much more promise for the individual. A low overhead. You get to eat your overhead. Jimmy Smith said, when I learned I could eat my overhead and become wealthy, so why not? So we talked a little bit about Robert Kiyosaki. I think it was in the first week that we did this. This is like our week 4 now. And all of them are recorded. And after probably this one or the next one, we'll loop back around and we'll go through number 1 again. And even like reading a book over and over, you learn something new every time. But there's also new people coming in all the time. So we want to go back and teach the very fundamentals of cycling. And so we'll cycle back through these. They won't be the exact same because we're not going to play the recording. We're always going to do them live, but we'll hit the same principles each week as we cycle through them. All right, so we went over Robert Kiyosaki talking about building a network. And really, this is the power and the leverage that comes through the network and tapping into other people's network. So in this book, the 45-second presentation, they sell it at Sound Concepts. You can get it on Amazon. Don Fela. He talks about getting the proverbial monkey off of our back, where we feel like we have to go out and sign up everybody. Like even people that have been in network marketing for a long time feel like they've never learned this principle that Don Fela is teaching, and that is you don't have to go out and sign up the world. If you look at some of the top leaders' numbers, how many people they enrolled versus how many people are in their organization, it's totally off. The scale is totally not balanced. There's way more for people who truly know how to lead and understand the principle. The scale will be way unbalanced on how many people you've enrolled versus how many people are in your organization. So you don't have to go out and sponsor the whole world. And this is the principle that Don Fela is teaching. Now in Isagenix, Don Fela teaches the power 2, 3, 4, and 5. But in Isagenix, we could literally manifest the power of 2 in our compensation plan. And I'll describe a little bit more what that means. I was not good at math at all. I had my football coach for math. I just didn't learn math. And but I got to understand what this power of two meant when it came to the compensation plan. So being teachable, being open, and knowing that there might be something that you don't understand yet, and being open and looking for, okay, what is it that I'm going to learn today that I don't really get yet? I didn't know that I didn't know. So the napkin presentation, he talks about the salesman failure syndrome. And that's where you're just going out and you're enrolling a bunch of people. And you're not really taking full responsibility for them. You may have taught them the value of the products and why they need to be on the products, what the problems are, and here's the solution. The presentation that I just did, I did exactly that. I taught what is the problem, what's the solution when it comes to, why would you want to be putting these products in your body? So, but the salesman failure syndrome goes a little bit further. And what happens is when you fall into that category of the salesman failure syndrome, people are coming in, but they're leaving just as quickly as they're coming in. And so you're really not building that leverage that Robert Kiyosaki talks about. Was it Warren Buffett who said, would you rather get paid 100% of your own efforts or 1% of 100 people's efforts? So if you're saying, I don't really know what that means even. Well, if you had 100 people doing the same amount of work that you could get paid for in a day, then if that 100 people are doing what you would do, but now you don't have to be there because you have 100 people doing it, then you don't have to be at work. You could be at the beach. You could be visiting with your grandkids. You could be doing, whatever you want, your hobbies that you want to do, because you're still getting paid for the effort from the 100 people. So it just frees up your time. But with the salesman failure syndrome, that's not really happening. It's not happening because you're losing people as quickly as they come in. And this goes back to the whole philosophy, also taking it to another whole level with the Forever Pack. It's easy to understand, it's simple to do, and it's easy to share. But you've still got to do some things that people don't understand that they have to do. And even when people get in, they don't understand that there's still some leadership responsibility that we have to do. Even with the simple pack as the Forever Pack, you could have a salesman failure syndrome problem with the Forever Pack. But we're eliminating a lot of that because we took out some of the inherent grievances for people that already knew some of those principles. But a brand new person does not understand the leadership. They might be a really great salesperson. They're signing people up, but they're not getting that person to understand truly what all the possibilities are. All right. Anybody want to share anything there? That's really what it comes down to, helping to inspire people what all of the possibilities are. All right. So I'm just barely touching on it here, but does anybody want to add anything there? And just interrupt me if you do. All right. So it's enrolling versus sponsoring. And he teaches this in the book. It's not really enrolling versus sponsoring. Sponsoring is where you're going to take responsibility for people. It's enrolling and sponsoring. All right. I would say the more people you enroll, the better. But make sure that you're sponsoring them. You're taking responsibility for them. And we need to talk about and get the exposure to what are some of those responsibilities that we have.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Just a comment, if I may. I heard the simplest illustration of how to get to a certain cycle level. Can you see this, Dave?
Yes.
It's like the way to get to 10 cycles is to help, a couple people over here, one person get to 5, the other person get to 2 or 3. That's how we achieve our ranks in the company. And the other thing I wrote down, this to me just simplified I'm not a big numbers guy, but I love the fact that it's leadership development, as you're saying, not sales. It's developing. The way to get to 20, a certain level, is we help somebody over here get to 10, somebody over here get to 10. I just wanted to me, it segues beautifully in what you're saying. It's not just about selling and enrolling. It's about developing these leaders. That's where we achieve our dreams, is to help others achieve their dreams. I just wanted to show this. To me, it's one of the simplest ways to understand how we achieve any rank or position or income level in our company. So just wanted to put that out there.
Exactly. It's a great point, and I like the way you show it there. Those people are not going to get to 10 cycles on their own. Willie made $1 million in his last company, but yet he's still dependent on my coaching and my mentoring with him in this Isagenix business, which is the same industry he was already in. They're not going to get to 10 cycles on their own. You've got to figure out what is it that's going to help them to get to those 10 cycles, right? And what are some of the basics? I mean, what would so Robert, for you, just throwing out a couple, what would be some of the basics that you would start somebody with to help them understand how they need to get to, how they're going to get to that 10 cycles?
Well, part of the basics, I was training on this a couple of days ago, is to help them understand the difference between prospecting and marketing. Marketing is what we call some of the buzz posts, putting content out there, great. And then the other is, how do we actually reach out and invite people to look and help them realize that there's a difference and what are the real numbers. So look at their goals, backtrack it in and say, okay, here are the real numbers to achieve these goals, and to help them realize that, number one, it's fundamental, Dave, but we all know teaching them the difference between separating the invitation from the presentation. So many newbies think they have to have the magic words, and when they're reaching out to people, they're already presenting before they've ever established any need or value, or much more an open-minded, person. So part of it is is to help them realize and appreciate that we're not looking for everybody. We're simply inviting and notifying, and the people that are, the timing is right and are open will show up. So number one, we established the mindset and the knowledge that we're not out there convincing anybody. Remember, amateurs convince, professionals sort. So we're simply putting it out there, inviting them to watch a simple video or tool, whatever we're using, the video, and typically has social credibility with our team pages, and help them realize that that's where we all start, and just put it out there, but help them realize going into this that we're only inviting people to look. That's our job, our job here. Our job is not to convince or manipulate or have the magic presentation, the magic words. So part of it is the mindset is first and foremost. Otherwise, we set up all this sense of failure and comparison, all the junk that listening to our imposter syndrome. So
yeah, exactly. And there's only a few things, you guys. It's not like an overwhelming, unlearnable, unsurmountable thing that you have to accomplish here. There's only a few things that you need to give them those exposures to in those looks. And I'm going to hit some of them, the basic ones right here. But if anything else comes up for you guys, just piggybacking off of what Robert said, just go ahead and speak up. All right. So, and that was great, Robert. Thank you. Leveraging your time is powerful. It creates time freedom, right? So we know we'll go a little bit over the leverage right here, right? There's 24 hours. We did this in one of the other ones. I'm not going to really spend time on this, but this is basically what we're wanting to accomplish, is where, you can only work 24 hours of the day yourself. And there's only 168 hours in an entire week, night and day. So there's no way you could work 168 hours. So if 10 people were working 10 hours, that would produce 100 hours, right? 10 people working 40 hours, that would be 400 hours. So that's pretty common, one person working a 40-hour week. Well, if you have 10 people working a 40-hour week, you've more than doubled the amount of hours there are to work in a week. So that's leverage. You have 40 people working 10 hours, now you just reverse that role. And it's kind of what networking does. 10 people working 40 hours versus 40 people working 10 hours. The math is the same. It's still 400 hours. You still doubled the amount of hours there are in an available week, which you could never do on your own. So that's the principle of leverage. So when we look at this, a typical job, that's the real pyramid, right? So if we look at the owner of the dealership, I worked as a mechanic for 15 years. So the owner's at the top. The GM is right below the owner, and the GM, even as qualified as they are and as much as they're getting paid, they're never going to get paid as much as the owner, right? But the owner is leveraging himself. He goes out and hires these other people to trade time for money. the office staff, the department managers, the sales that are going to sell the cars, the mechanics that are going to fix the cars, and they charge, I think we're up to close to $180 an hour for labor. And when I was a mechanic, they only paid us $20 an hour, $22 an hour. I bet they're still not getting much more than that. And the labor prices are going way up there. So who's making that? Well, the owner, he's covering his overhead for the large dealership and all of the inventory, but he's still making a big portion of what the sales staff and the mechanics are getting paid and earning for the owner. So at one shop, I think we had 24 mechanics at one shop. So look at the leverage that the owner's getting. And me as a mechanic could never, ever get paid what the owner's getting paid while I'm working for the owner, right? So in Isagenix, I'd make more than, a lot of people in the company, and I came in a lot later. So that would be like a mechanic rising up above and making what the owner's making or even more, so it's a very divinely inspired company when they truly allow a brand new person to come in that could make as much as the person who brought them in or even exceed it, right? And that's what we have here. So the leverage, it's an upside down pyramid. We're developing people who are developing people. We're creating a customer base that's growing. This starts for anybody that comes into the company, and it's going to be the same starting point for everybody. There's really not an advantage to having gotten into Isagenix first. I mean, Lynn Hagedorn didn't come in until the company had been around for 12 years. She's the #1 income earner now because everybody starts out like this, and it's unlimited possibility for every single person. All right, so I like this visual compared to corporate America versus the networking industry, MLM, multi-level marketing. But Isagenix is really leading the way at how they do this. They just announced the third 302 millionaire this week. So we're part of Inc. Magazine's Top 500. We've actually got a congressional award. We're a member of the DSA. So we're a real business. But look at the opportunity that it gives in this business versus this type of business or career. Right? Anybody want to add anything there? Okay. So 237 millionaires, that was October 2017. We're at 302 now. All right. So we're not trading time for money, and they could fire you at any time. Nobody can fire you from Isagenix. That's pretty awesome. Now, this is what I really like this training right here from his book. This is Don Fela. So the salesman failure syndrome is where you're just enrolling people and moving on to the next person. Like a realtor can do that. They can sell a car and move on to the next person. A car salesman can sell a car, and then they're already, while the customer's in there waiting to go into the finance department, they're going out to try to sell another car. And so they're just looking for the next sell. And so if you look at this foundation here, it goes wide, but it's not going deep. And when it comes to a foundation, if you're trying to build on top of that foundation, this is not a solid foundation to build on. And a salesman doesn't really need to worry about the depth of the foundation, but we want leverage, right? Robert Kiyosaki said, you want to build a network. You want to tap into other people's network. That's where we build the leverage. A salesman is not worried about leverage. They're worried about the next sell. So whatever they need to say to get the person to buy the car, buy the house, buy the gadget, and then they're off to the next person. And that's trading time for money. So they got to go through a lot of people. That's not what we do here. That is not network marketing. And so many people treat Isagenix like the salesman failure syndrome, either because they don't know or they just think this person's going to teach themselves and all of a sudden they're going to take off with the business. Not going to happen. So he talks about digging down to bedrock. And what he means by bedrock is that you're going to teach somebody, you're going to make sure that they're teaching somebody, and then you're going to make sure that that person's teaching somebody. So you're kind of overseen as the CEO of your business. You're not just worried about the person you brought in, not worried. Your concern and your job title is, according to Don Fela, if you want to make this work, you're going to teach this person what it means to get to consultant. That's the very basic. I did it with every single person. When I sat down with them and they filled out the application, I may set up a time to go back and visit them in their home, or I might do it at the time of enrollment. I'm going to sit down and show them what it means to get their products paid for. I said, look, let me just show you. You may be interested. If you get great results, obviously you're going to want to share this with people that you love and care about. But also you could get your products paid for. So I never brought up the word business. I never said, do you want to do the business? That's like fingernails on the chalkboard for a lot of people, right? So I said, let me just show you. I can get your products paid for. It's very easy. I showed every single customer what it means to get to consultant. And that's why I was able to replace my income in 4.5 months. 4.5 months with no network marketing experience, because I taught every person what it means to get to consultant. I took the time, energy, and effort to do that. Now, let's say this person brings in somebody. Don Fela would say, hey, it's your responsibility to make sure that this person's showing this person how to get their products paid for and what the possibilities are. But you don't stop there. You do it 3 more generations. So you do it total of 4 generations with the person you brought in. Make sure they're teaching the person, make sure they're teaching the person, make sure they're teaching the person. That's the bedrock. We just built a solid foundation to now build on, where you can build a ginormous organization on top of that kind of foundation. Where this kind of foundation, you're not going to be able to build anything because nobody's being taught. Maybe you might get lucky after enrolling 200 people. You just have somebody who's entrepreneurial minded and they didn't need you to teach them because they're already an entrepreneur. But even look at Willie. He needs me to help him show him the ropes in Isagenix, even though he's made $1 million in the industry already. Same thing with Malcolm. Made $5 million. Still had to work with him and teach him. All right. So now this is the power of 2, right? Now, I just want to show a couple things here. We know what the cycle is, and I would show everybody how they would get their products paid for. I didn't go into depth about the cycles, but I am here because this is a training. But this is what I showed everybody. They just got enrolled. I'm sponsoring them now. I didn't just enroll them. It's enrolling and sponsoring, taking responsibility to show them all of the possibilities that are available to them because they just bought a membership in Isagenix. Now, if they do that, the cycles go in. So we know that we want products to move. The reason I'm showing this slide is because this is where the leverage comes in. If this person taps into their warm market, now they're going to bring 2 people in. That's the leverage that we want to get, right? And that's going to add BV, and we get paid on BV and PV, personal volume, BV, business volume. All right, so as I'm teaching them, look at products are moving. That's where the leverage comes in. If I don't teach this person, they're never going to do this. 99.9% of the time, they're not going to do this because they don't even know how to do it. They don't know how to log into their back office. It's something as simple as logging into the back office and where to go once they get in there. That's going to take time, energy, and effort from me. So I'm now sponsoring the person, and they're following through with what I'm teaching them. They got to that power. This is the power of 2, power of 2. But it added 4 people to my group. There's the leverage, right? So we know that cycles are king. Now I just made $620. So this person, they want to make the $620 because you taught them that. That's part of the thing that you would want to be making as part of your basic now. I did the promotion at a brand new, event that we just held right here in New Jersey. I went through the promotion. Everybody knows how to get the $620 now. But what I'm showing you here is products are being moved and you're getting paid that 6% on the products. So when we get 300 and 600, see what's happening from building the solid foundation? I taught this person. I'm making sure that they've taught this person. I'm overseeing this person getting taught. And look what's happening to my BV as I'm doing that. I'm getting paid. I'm digging to bedrock. I didn't just sponsor and then move on to the next person and enroll them down here and then wonder why this person isn't doing anything. I'm teaching them the fundamentals of moving product and changing people's lives. So now I got 1 cycle. I just got paid a cycle because there's 600 in BV and 300 BV, and the BV wasn't created just by me. It was through me teaching this person. And I'm telling you, that promotion, you've got to work this promotion. This $620 promotion is one of the fastest, simplest ways to take responsibility in sponsoring somebody and getting that leverage at the same time. So I've cycled before that person even got their 620, but they didn't stop because I'm making sure. So on this one, I'm going to the inside leg, making sure that this person is sponsoring this person. Once 3 people have been taught, how much more of possibility is there to start building that high rise? I'm building the foundation of teaching them. I'm not just letting them figure it out or send them to the website or go watch Kathy Coover's, compensation plan video. I would never do that. This is my business. I'm going to roll the red carpet out. So I better know my stuff, right? I've got to take the time to learn how to teach this, and then I'm going to teach it. I would never ultimately send somebody to the compensation plan video. I would be taking hands-on with the people that I'm sponsoring. All right. So now I'm above and beyond, and that person just got their $620 bonus. And I've cycled, and I have an extra 100 PV in there, BV, business volume, personal volume, same thing. And I'm doing the same thing over here. I'm making sure that this person is teaching these people. I'm overseeing it as the CEO. I guess that's why you would call it a manager. A manager oversees what other people's work is. What's the quality of their work? What are they doing? Are they doing their job correctly? That's what a manager does. So what's the description of this? Manager, right? So you're managing your business, and it's teaching people how to get their products paid for. Now it's teaching them how to get the $620 bonus. And then I would take it a little step further with working with people one-on-one and showing them what a cycle is. Look at that. That person just got their 620. I've leveraged to where I've almost gotten to another cycle. So again, I hope that this is making sense, that you have to take personal responsibility and don't like, oh no, I've never taught anybody before. Nobody's ever relied on me to do anything. I'm not good enough. Get that out. That's like the past, right? You're learning something new if that's how you feel. You can learn this. Kathy Coover's one of her biggest fears was the compensation plan. When Jim was saying you would do so amazing in this industry, but she was so afraid of compensation plans and teaching people. But look at her now, right? Okay, so, and then the auto ship. Imagine the auto ship. All of those people's products going out, you would have a cycle plus 500 PV from all of those people auto ship going out the next month if they don't even add anything, right? So you can see how that leverage, that auto ship really kicks in. All right, so we know, and I can't wait for you guys to see how Alex lays this out, but I'm laying it out kind of linear here. That power of 2, we could manifest it in our compensation plan. So everybody just enrolling 2, get your $170. So this is just we've already gone over this, but right here, this is at 100 BV. It's not the 110 that the Forever Pack is. But by the time you almost got through the 12th level, you'd be at $49,000 a month in passive residual income because the auto ships are going to go out the next month on all of these people, right? So we know what the power of this is, but it doesn't happen on its own. So I want to show you these levels. So again, just kind of reiterating a few things here, but I want to bring it home with this right here. So when I sponsor JoJo, I want you guys to take inventory right here. Have you not been teaching and taking responsibility to help this person understand? Have you just been saying, look, it's on the website, it's on the back of foreverpack.com. Go watch the video. Hey, you can do that, but I would say that's there more for you to learn how to hands-on roll the red carpet out for the person that you just enrolled, and actually you teach them. There is no way I'm leaving that up to a video. Not when it comes to my business. If it's going to be, it's up to me, right? So Don Fela, it's enroll and sponsor, right? And what are we going to teach them when they come in? How to get their products paid for. And now we can show them the promotion that we have, right? So Don Fela says you're going to make sure that the enrolling teaching process is happening 3 generations deep. 3 generations. You're making sure that Betty's getting taught. Now, look, let's say Tom doesn't want to teach. He's out of here. He's not even ordering products anymore. Well, he still holds his position of equity. That's fine. He can start ordering 6 months down the road. But he's not taking the time to teach Carol. The people who have made me wealthy and grown my business the biggest are Bettys, the Bettys that have come into the organization. 2 generations away from my personal enrollment. And I would say it even goes further than that. I don't know how many generations Willie is from me. thousands of people down in my organization for sure. But do you see this? And you're overseeing to make sure. And maybe it's Carol, the one that's really going to run with it. So as you're teaching Carol the possibilities of getting her products paid for and what could happen beyond that, based on how much she's willing and ready to hear from you, man, it may be Carol that blows out your cycles and maxes out your left leg. And this is one of the things that actually happens through the Don Fela method. But let's say they're all doing it. Now, when you leave the picture, Tom is making sure that Carol is teaching Betty and Betty's teaching her personal enrollment, Sue. So if they don't fall out here, now you have people who are enrolling and teaching. Where I would say in most cases, not just in this industry, but even in Isagenix, people are enrolling, but they're not teaching. And a lot of times it's because the teaching's overwhelming, or the person who got them in, they weren't taught on what to teach. And so then you go to the Isagenix University and you're listening to David Wood and a few other people, but that's kind of like sending people to the video. Man, if you want to just rock this business, you take responsibility and you learn it and you start teaching people and you make sure that they're teaching people. But if you say, well, I'm going to do it all, I'm not going to teach Tom how to teach Carol, I'm just going to teach Carol. That's not what you want to do. You want to have Tom involved. Whenever I do a call with Willie, I make sure that Willie's on that call. If he says, hey, I can't be on the call, I'll say, that's fine. We'll just wait till you can be on the call. Whenever we set up a Zoom to do some training, he's always on there. He's listening to me teach his team. So that's how you build a huge organization, you guys. It's critical that each person understands the principle, so it moves them into the same consistent actions until the success is achieved, right? So now Don Fela doesn't just stop at 2, he teaches 3, 4, and 5, and this is what Kathy Coover saw. 5 people who tell 5 people who tell 5 people. Man, if you taught 5 people and you're overseeing that they're teaching their people, that's when the high rise starts growing. And with Isagenix, it's pretty profound because it doesn't even have to be people that you personally enrolled to get this high rise to build, and you start cycling to Freedom Day. All right? So it's the salesman failure syndrome versus sponsoring and enrolling. You do want to sponsor, and the more people you sponsor and teach, the faster that high rise grows. So that's why we have executive. You're enrolling not just 5, you're enrolling 10. 5 on the left and 5 on the right. Imagine if all of them were teachable and they went out and did the same actions that you're doing. And you're going to be overseeing that. Remember, you're a manager. As a director, you're taking on bigger responsibility, making sure that more people are being taught the correct principles and that they're teaching their people. As an executive, executives make big money because they're overseeing people being taught correctly, the right principles. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and that they're actually doing their job correctly. You guys, so, and just getting to this right here, that pays huge money, $3,000 just in bonuses. And that's not even overseeing the generations that go beyond. That's just your first generation of teaching people. But then you want to make sure that their people are teaching their people are teaching their people. Once you understand that and you're following through with that, you guys, the beach money comes rolling in. It has to. There's no other way. It has to. That's an action that has a consequence. So again, with the $170 bonus, man, it just takes that and it makes it much easier to teach people the correct principles. But you would still have to teach them how to cycle, how to log into their back office, how to get the application. And once they have the application, what do I do with it now? You want to make sure that not just the people you enroll are doing that, but the people they enroll and the people they enroll. And that Don Fela has built 3 different organizations and 3 different companies of over 100,000 people. You just can't do that on your own. It takes a team. And so these are the numbers. So just pulling these up, and then I'm going to toss it over to any comments that anybody has, and then have Alex share that leverage on how it works. Now that you know you understand the principles, she's going to give you a little bit different perspective. So Janie enrolled 200 people. 6 of them did the business, but her biggest month is 82,000. 45,000 people in her group. That's because Janie is an incredible sponsor and trainer. She enrolls and she sponsors. She's training people. She's taught from the stage. She's that good at training. Every one of these people could teach from the stage and have. But look, out of the 200 people that Sean enrolled, only 2 did the business, but he has 99,000 people in his group, and he's only enrolled 200. Tyler, out of the 200 they enrolled, 12 did the business, 68,000 people in their group. They're able to build that big high rise because they're taking the time to personally sponsor and train the people that are coming into their group. And with Isagenix, to get to this number, it doesn't have to be the people you personally sponsored. You can leverage those cycles off of anybody in your group. All right. So any comments, anything anybody want to share?
Hey, Dave, I do. Lenny here. Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this training, and I've been taking so many notes. First of all, forever pack, forever, baby, because I remember so much doing this. And when I got lost in the big packs for a long time, just being vulnerable here, I started doing more on all the products, trying to keep up with the coaching. And this went away for me personally. Like, I stopped teaching this deep. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And imagine one of these napkin presentations that you're going to master was what Kathy Coover, we just heard from Dave, woke her up, went home. And Jimmy Smith, I just want to say this, Dave, I want to see if you remember this. He used to give away by the dozens and hundreds. He would buy packs of 2 types of CDs, Don Fela and The Strangest Secret in the World, and he would hand them out to people. That's because he knew if he could teach numbers and mindset, you know, that's what he always talked about. Sponsor means when you sponsor someone, you take responsibility for that person. And you just brought that home in such a beautiful way. It's our job to teach this because, you know, we're the CEO of our business. This is just absolutely brilliant training, Dave. Thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, you touched on a point there. I just want to drive that home, you guys, and reiterate it. My coaching from cleansing, because I did the maintenance packs. I stayed with maintenance packs back before they had Isagenesis. 9 days in maintenance packs. That's the biggest I ever went. And my coaching on product use turned into helping people accomplish their Freedom Day. Like, the phone calls that I get now are not about product coaching and trying to resolve challenges that people are going through. It's always about the business. When I'm on the phone, it's about the business. It's about helping them and mentoring them to build their business. That's what all my phone calls are about. Or it's how awesome the results are that they're getting. Like, I can't believe the story. Well, I can believe the stories. They always, like, they don't surprise me, but I just like to celebrate them like it's the first time I'm hearing it, because it is the first time hearing it from that person. It's the same results that I've seen now after 8 years, you know, and 5,000 meetings, but it's always a new story from the new person, and it just lights me up. So it's either I'm talking to people about how amazing the products are and the results they're getting, or the business. And 90% of my phone calls and my Zooms are around business building. That's a big difference, you guys, where the coaching on the product and resolving and trying to put out fires, that wasn't building your business. In a way, it kind of is, but it was a negative way of building your business. And that's what I really wanted people to see. And I was like, why don't people see it? Like, if they knew how my life was, you know, and how, like, no drama in my business, they would be doing this. So now we are. Now we've gone into moment. We got into hyperspeed, and they put a promotion behind it. So yeah, great point, Lanny. All right, anybody else?
I just want to end with this, and then whoever wants to talk. And I've always thought, treat everyone like they are the one. Treat everyone like they're the one. And you just showed us how to treat everyone like they're the one. So we get deep in the bedrock of teaching people, just teaching 5 who teach 5 who teach 5. This right here. That's most people's Freedom Day, Dave. That leads to about $5,000 a month in residual passive income in our world. I mean, anyway, this is so exciting.
Yeah, you know, and I did something just the other day. I added this, and I'm going to share my screen. So this is the presentation I did, and I showed Don Fela. I showed Don Fela at every presentation. And so I changed this slide. I didn't change it. I added one thing, you guys. So I'm showing them the numbers here. And then here's Don Fela. So it's showing everybody making the promotion, right? So I'm driving this promotion home, you guys. I mean, if everybody gets their 170, then everybody's getting their 620, right? So if we just did the 170, but here it is, the 6%, the Forever Pack BV, which is 110, they're going to pay us 6% on that BV, the power of 2, and auto ship. So, right, we know down here at level 13, it's $54,000 a month. But here's how I really drive it home. Imagine what an extra $500 to $750 a month would do for you residually. Every month that's coming in. And people are shaking their heads to this. I'm getting more of a reaction on this that I tried to get with this. I'm getting that reaction with this right here, making it achievable, making it believable. I'm just like, okay, forget about the 54,000. Yeah, it's totally possible and it'll happen automatically if you do the 170. But what if you could make an extra $500 a month? I'm telling you, when I got into Isagenix, $500 a month changed our lives. And people are like, I hear people actually whispering and shaking their heads, right? So I'm getting better at articulating this whole power of 2 and the Don Fela. And, so again, that's a real principle, you guys, and you've got to get good at teaching people that. You got to articulate to them and take responsibility. Then you become an asset for every single person you've enrolled. Become an asset for every single person you've enrolled. All right, so I want Alex to share on her screen, and she's in Tahoe doing the same thing I am, trying to work the Wi-Fi system. So if you could share your screen, Alex. There you go. Good job. Awesome.
It's working? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, let me just get to the right place. And this is incredible. I don't know how much more I can even share from what you've just done. Fantastic. One of the things that you just shared, can you hear me all right? Am I clear?
Yes.
Great. So one of the things you just shared that just gets me so excited is really that vision with that person, connecting with what can make the difference and what that would mean to them first. Really getting a sense of, if they can't wrap around $54,000 a month, which most people can't, it's just too much of a splatter, just have them stretch a little bit. What would $500 a month more do? What would you do with that? When you get that, it opens up this, okay, well, show me how. So starting with why is always, an important way to get started. So one of the things that I learned from this conference that just really blew me away was Susan Miller's training. And it just brought things to life for me when it comes to sharing the basics of our marketing plan. And when you look at, the cash flow quadrant, I'm not going to go through the whole thing that she does, but when you look at the cash flow quadrant and you've got, your employee, you've got your self-employed, you've got businesses, bigger businesses, and you've got investors. And the idea that, 95% of people are over here, and only 5% of people are over here. And we really want to shift and get ourselves over to this leveraged type of income. But when we look at these incredible bonuses that we have available, where people can make 170 and then 670 and all these incredible bonuses to really entice them to get started, we also really do want to show them this kind of basic model, like what we're doing. And we have so many things that are on the take an action and earn some money, right? We have a lot that's on the left-hand side because Isagenix we have our rank advancement bonuses. Our rank advancement bonuses. We have, which is instant money. We've got, when we get our customers, we're able to, hold on, sorry. Then we also get product introduction bonuses. And we also can get all kinds of bonuses as we move through the different, just different levels, like 5 cycle bonuses, 10 cycle bonuses, things that we covered last week. But getting over to the leverage side of the model is where that 6% comes alive. And that 6% takes a little bit more time to build. So it's really, really brilliant how we have all of this stuff on the front end that we can really get people engaged in just getting comfortable sharing with a few as we share the vision of what can happen over time. So the part that I was sharing with Dave that I thought was really kind of cool, the way I see things is more in circles. I see things like you cast a stone in the water and the ripples go out, and the more the bigger the stone, the bigger the ripples, and those ripples hit people, objects, and situations, and they come back to you and reward you. It's just the natural flow of how the universe works, right? So I like to see this in circles when it comes to the exponential portion of this. So if we're looking at the power of 2, So you go ahead and get started on the products on a forever pack, and so and then you share with 2 people. So at the very center, the stone you're casting is two people. And then when we help those 2 people get their 2 people, now in that next ring, you have 4. And so it's already starting to make a ripple. But of course, like Dave was saying, we're helping these people to see and catch the vision, and we're working deep. We're helping those 2 get their 2 to get to that next layer. And then there's the next layer. You help those 4, and now we've got 8. That's the next level. And then when those 8 also go, I think it's 8, and then we've got 16. Just going out that little bit. And now this is also, you know, we look at this typically as U plus 2, and then plus 2, and then that next layer down, right? Isn't that how it is? 1, 2, 3, 4. It just starts to get, yeah, 1 more after that, right? So it starts to get a little bit more pyramid-y looking. I love the circles. I just think they look beautiful, and you can literally show them in this case that just that right there, they're making about $200 right away. Now, most of that is coming on the left side of the quadrant. So this is going to be rewards for helping people to rank advance, helping people to get going, and a little bit of cycles, but not much. And so what I like to try to build a vision for beyond that, now we can take that power even further, but what I really want to do is just show people even that right there. You get started with your 2, and you help 2, there you go. There's $170. You've just paid for your next month. So this is month 1. Sorry, this is really difficult to write on. So that's month 1. Here, let me make that little 1 a little bit nicer. Month 1. So month 2, you help those 2 get theirs so that you're adding the next layer like that. And now you're helping them get that 670. So they've paid for their next 3 months. And if you really look at this, that's 4 months of products being paid for just from that left side of the quadrant, from those rewards. So they've got 4 months of products that they're paying for just by locking arms with you and just taking a peek, introducing those people that they're bringing in, their friends, on a welcome call, and allowing you to work with them and inspire them and show them the possibilities. Now they've got 4 months of products paid for, and we're at this point introducing them to other products, right? So the cart's starting to grow. So our customer care is getting better. They're watching this and learning as we're going. I'm not saying that this is 4 months, down the road. Some people will do this in a couple of days, but nonetheless, you can see how even somebody who is a customer who's just, okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and share with my mom and my friend. Those people take longer. There's only a percentage of people that are going to come out and catch this big vision and just say, yes, I'm going to build this business big right now. I was one of those people, but it's a smaller percentage of just the 20% that will do the business at all. Our percentages are about 80-20. And so 80% of people will remain product users, but we got to find those people. Those people can come through other product users, and it's up to us to build that vision to make it worth people's while to open up their market to us, to those of us that want to build this. But over time, more and more vision comes across to those customers that we're enrolling, and they're starting to see, wow, what could $500 do? What could $700 do or more? So really, when you look at just the power of 2, you've got 4 months here. Let's say we'll call this month 2. You've got 4 months of products paid for. Now we're starting to build cycles. By the time you go out 1 more layer, you're to basically month 2 or 3, now you've got where you're making a residual, and I don't have the exact amount here, but you're making a residual approximately $2 per month, which is paying for their forever pack forever. So it starts out as a front end bonus. It ends up as a residual passive. So they're getting their healthy paid for. And that really is an exciting thing to show people. Now, I'm just going to go into a new page because that's the power of 2. I'm very quickly here going to show you the power of, I'm just going to go ahead and do the power of 3 and then the power of 5. So the power of 3 to the power of 2, I should say, is going to be 3. And then you've got 9. And then you have 27. And then you've got 81 people. Again, reaching deep, working really deep. Now you've got 121 people consuming their forever packs. And think about this, if you're adding people each month, each of these layers could look like a week or a month where we're helping people to grow this thing. This is also that that residual, the auto ships are so important because that's where this is going to continue to grow and maximize. This is, I mean, obviously in a perfect world, it's going to take more than that, but what a great thing to aim for. 121 people. Now you're making $784 a month. That is life-changing for some people. Now the power of 5 is 5, 25, 125, and then look at this last layer, 675, I think it is. I can't read my own writing. It's too small. 625. That is a total of 781 people because we're also adding ourselves in there. And that's a 5,060 right there. Now, one of the biggest differences I want to share with you here is this is really working with a lot of members who are customers who we are trying to bring into becoming sharers. And it's a bit harder to get those 25 people here in this layer to move into the 125 than, to get them all to share with 2 people, right? And to get those 125 then to build a vision for those people. So what if you do this top down? What if you actually speak and breathe vision into the 5%ers and share from that level of what's possible with those 5% of people or 3 or 2% of people that are networkers, that are busy, they are happy, they are cup half full kind of people, but they have influence and they will understand what this is about. They're looking for us. What about we go after those people and we can share with our enrolling, it's just somebody that we're enrolling. I can say, listen, I want to show you how simply you can get your next month's products paid for. I say next month. I don't say get this month's products paid for because it's already, guaranteed and all that. I want to show them how next month's products are going to be paid for and then the next 3. And of course, they're going to want to see this. But let me also show you what's here because whether or not this is for you, I don't know. Only really about 2 to 5% of people have this vision, but I was one of them. And I wish that somebody had told me this a long time ago. And you might know one of these people if it's not you. So will you allow me to show you what's actually possible? Of course I will, is what they say. And so then you just go straight into what if we went out and did what I did here, which was, hold on, let me grab that pen. If I started and went out and looked for 10 people, my dream team, I used that crystal executive map, that beautiful map with all of those, goes on down with all of those people getting to consultant, right? I use that map as a dream team, basically. That was my memory jogger for my dream teams. And so, of course, I had a list of just a regular memory jogger list of everybody I could think of and who they knew. But I think I filled out about 7 of those crystal executive maps with the people that I believed had what it took, were already networkers, had influence that I wanted to have on my team. Whether it was believable to me that they would come on or not, I was going for the 10 who would also build 10. So literally looking for business builders first, who would also then look for their 10, because of course they would. If I'm going to go for 10 business builders, then they're going to go for 10 business builders. Now we're looking at, of course, we'll have other customers in there as well, but we can't expect our customers to build our business for us. But if we lock arms with an excited group of people who get what's possible here, even if it's just 1 or 2, we're free, right? What if we actually aim for 10 and we help them find their 10? We work super closely with this group, and then they all go out and get just 10 customers. Now you've got 1,000 customers. Just like that, 2 layers out, 2 layers out, and you're looking at 10,000 in volume, business volume, and that is a passive, I think it's about 6,000 per month. That's just, with you finding 10 people and helping them find 10 people of a sales force. You're creating a sales force first. And so I did this with a gal who was not interested in the business. I didn't ask her, are you interested in the business? I'm just saying she was not interested in the business. She was very clear that she just wanted her product. And I said, that's perfect. That's beautiful. And I just want you to know what's here, because I know you're going to love these products, and I'd love for you to have the opportunity to be able to get some sort of reward, whether it's a kickback, in the form of cash or in products. I'm not sure. Does that sound interesting to you? Well, of course. Great. Well, let me just show you what's here, because I get that this isn't probably something that you want to do, but maybe you know somebody. And just by being a conduit for me and introducing me to that person, because this is what I do and I'm really serious about it and I love this. It's incredible. It's the only way I can reach more people is through people like you. Maybe you know somebody. So would you be willing to take a quick peek so I can show you what is here? By the end of that conversation, it's like, oh yeah, I do know a couple of people. Fantastic. Let's talk about how you can introduce us. And then they get excited. It's like that little fire starts to light up underneath them. They're, well, maybe this is possible with that kind of support. They get a real sense of that support and culture. So I'm hoping that you guys are still hearing me.
Yes.
Okay,
I lost the internet for a second there, and
that's
just
okay.
right before you went into the Power of Five, I'm like, that was the part I wanted to see. It's so cool. But,
well, let me see. I just realized that I'm sharing my screen, and here we go. I just wanted to go into the 3, the 5, and really that power of 10 with really going for business first. And you're going to find others anyways. But again, knowing that your customers aren't necessarily going to be you don't want to be pushing your customers to build the business, but you do want to be teaching them and inspiring them. So having their why first is super important. Doing almost like a takeaway where you're looking for people. Share the vision of where you're going and why that's so important, what that movement is. And oh my gosh, you can totally help me. It doesn't mean I'm asking you to do specific things, but you might know people. And you can literally just kind of take that pressure off of them, but at the same time breathe way more vision, because there's no expectation in that's direct on them that makes them shut down. And then when you show them these numbers, it's like, oh wow, that's only just a few wow, I could get that per month. It's pretty fabulous. So I think it just stopped. So my screen sharing is done. And that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Oh, that was fun. I see a lot of people taking notes. That just makes me really excited.
Cool.
I love seeing that vision that laid out that way. It's just another perspective, and it works really well. Thank you for sharing that. Very powerful. I see a lot of people shaking their heads.
Cool.
A lot of comments too. So great job. All right. Before we get off here, we have 2 minutes. Anybody want to share anything?
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Just a reminder for myself and for all of us that, people are looking for leaders. So what we do here, as far as, stepping into that teaching, leadership, mentoring role, they're consciously and subconsciously asking themselves the question, is this a leader I can follow? Is this a leader that can lead me? So that's a question I'm always asking myself daily. And what we're sharing here is what leaders do. So amen to all of you. But thanks, Alex, and thanks, Dave.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I want every one of you to believe that you are a leader. I can't instill that into you. I would look at every one of you as somebody who could teach me something. I know that sometimes we get told things and we buy into that people say to us as we're growing up, and, just things that aren't true. Every single one of us has something that we can share with somebody that can add value to their lives. And when it comes to Isagenix, man, you just got to learn, some of these basic fundamentals. And then I don't think it's that you don't know the fundamentals. I think it's just that some people don't believe that they're a leader, that they could say something that would be of value to somebody else. And I just want to tell you, throw that out the window. That's garbage. Throw that in the garbage. That's what we used to say to our kids. Go throw that in the garbage, because that is not worthy of you. So anybody else want to share anything? But absolutely, you guys have value that you can share. Believe it. Believe in it. Believe you can do it. And this is recorded. I saw somebody that said they'd like to have some of the slides and things like that. So this will all be recorded. We've been putting them in the Mechanic to Millionaire YouTube channel. They're all labeled week 1, 2, 3. This will be number 4. They will end up going into the back end of foreverpack.com. So we will put them there where everybody can get them there. And that crystal executive sheet, I said last week, you needed to go to that website. You can go to foreverpack.com. It's in the backside as well. The crystal executive sheet. You can print it up there. So it's all, we want to try and make that a one-stop shopping.
I just want to add to that, the webmaster has been away for quite some time. So that will definitely be updated as soon as possible. I've been trying to reconnect with her, and it looks like I may actually be learning how to update things myself. So it'll be a little bit faster. It'll still go through through leadership to decide what goes back on that there, but I will hopefully be able to manage it a little bit quicker. I also just forgot to let you guys know that on that, just real fast, on that vision around going out and finding 10 business builders and helping them find their 10 business builders and then going out and getting customers. If you put that out one more layer, you will max out your entire center. You'll be making over 700,000 a year. So literally that exponential growth, when you have builders too, is much more stable. Those roots run deeper. It weathers the storm because those roots are deeper than just a lot of customers with a couple. And that's just something to just continue to strive for, is how deep can I get those roots, like you were saying. So thanks for letting me just add that little last layer.
Good.
That's a big last layer.
Platinum. We're going platinum on the next layer.
Totally.
Good
Hey,
deal.
I just want to ask a question at that spot right there. So when because Dave was showing reach down into the organization, right? So reach down and lift somebody up. So when you're showing those, are those your personally enrolled, or does it matter?
Me personally?
Mhm.
Oh, no, that's the exponential growth. That's 2 sharing with 2, and then those people sharing with 2. Each layer is the number in that layer sharing with 2. It's the same. It's just not linear. It's going out into a circle. It's the same as the power of 2.
So my question was, as we're showing reach down and lift
Okay.
up, were those numbers based on personal, my personal enrollments, and then 10, and then 10, and then 10 of all personal?
Oh, right.
Or can it
So,
be someone else in the organization? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yes. So you're starting with your 10 and you're starting with your 10 people that are builders, and then we're helping them find their 10 builders, right? And now you've got a sales force of 100 builders that are including all of their personally enrolled and my personally enrolled all together. And then, so it's really the same as enrolling customers, only they're all
the
builders.
principles are the same. They're the same, whether it's the circles or the other way down. And you can reach down into anybody, like we were showing. But the best way is, the fastest way is as you're sponsoring people, but maybe there's somebody else who's sponsoring a lot of people, and you start working with that leader and going 3 generations deep with that leader that you didn't enroll. The principles are the same, regardless of how we show it. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome stuff. All right. We're at that time. Thanks, everybody. And we'll get the recording up ASAP. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone. Yes, the Australia celebration. There you go. I'll even do it. Here we go. There we go. Thanks, you guys. Bye, everyone.